Today we're going to do a drawing of a horse, and I'm going to start with some watercolour markers. This is a turquoise, and I'm going to begin by just putting down some loose gestural lines on the paper, on the card. This is a turquoise watercolour marker, and these watercolour markers are a fairly recent discovery, for me at least. They've been around for quite a while, and I find them really cool to use. They have many of the benefits of a marker pen in that you can put down precise lines very, very quickly, but of course you're actually putting down watercolour paint onto the paper. So you can then, if you so wish, apply a clean wet brush and start to move the paint around a little bit, far more so than you can do with traditional ink. So this is the hindquarters of the horse. This drawing, well, hopefully going to be a painting. It's actually inspired by some horses encountered up on Dartmoor the other day. The foreleg of the horse stops about here, and we can just see the other foreleg peeking out behind the hind leg. So the idea here is to work quite rapidly without worrying too much about accuracy. We're simply trying to get some indication of a horse down on the page as quickly as possible. And then having done this, I can now switch to a different colour and go over those lines and make corrections as I go. Alright, so now I've switched to cadmium red, still watercolour marker. And now I'm just going to take a little bit more care as I work my way around the drawing. Bring the line of the tail here. That gets slightly wider as it goes towards the ground. And the hindquarters, left hip here. Bring the hind leg back in a little closer to the tail, so it's at more of an angle. The ankle. And the rear hoof. And then, as mentioned before, the right foreleg, the knee is just peeking out in that little alcove created by the hind leg. So this horse was actually encountered up on Dartmoor the other day, roaming wild with the rest of its herd. And it was the most beautiful copper colour, just really glowing in the sun. They were a little shy though. They didn't want to come over and say hello to us. Didn't want to be petted. But I was able to take quite a few good reference photos. For a long time I was very much against painting from photos. But it's almost impossible to do otherwise when you're dealing with animals, which obviously don't sit still, especially if they're wild animals. And B, over the years, I've kind of worked out a way to paint from photographs as if I was painting from life. And one of the steps of that technique, for me at least, is to work really quickly. And imagine I've got a live horse here in front of me that I'm copying. So I'm definitely not trying to reproduce the photograph. I'm simply using it as a reference for proportion and lighting. And of course colour to some extent. I'm less concerned about colour. Let's put in a few little indications of plants here, just to act as a reminder for later.